Thanks for the introduction. Thanks Vortal for inviting us, being here. We're very excited to share with you what we're doing in artificial intelligence. Not because of what we're doing, but because of what you can do with artificial intelligence. So I'm going to talk about all the new innovations that are going on in this field. I'm going to explain what artificial intelligence means, what can you do with artificial intelligence, and by all means, feel free to interrupt me, ask me any questions. Worst thing that can happen is that I don't know the answer. I'm used to that, so please feel free to ask whatever you want, okay? So let's get started. I like to speak about artificial intelligence in terms of an invisible revolution. If you think about all the things that have been going on in the last few years, the truth is that the most amazing innovations that are happening are things that you don't even see, right? So 10 years ago, the good innovations were, a new laptop, which was very cool in design, a new mobile phone. Well, 10 years ago, even mobile phones were kind of new. So new mobile phones, new hardware, and it was so exciting, right? But now, the true innovations that are going on are when, for example, Siri tells you that you should leave 10 minutes earlier to get to your next meeting. That's artificial intelligence and all the things that are going on with that. So if you look at why this is happening, you see that there's a lot of data all around us. We are measuring pretty much everything. We have wearables measuring our heart rates and how we sleep and all the steps that we give during the day. We have sensors pretty much everywhere, in elevators, in highways, everywhere. We have all this data coming through, right? And with data comes intelligence and what we do with the data. And that's all about what artificial intelligence means. But this is not something new, right? So I don't know, do you remember when Garry Kasparov was beaten by an artificial intelligence playing chess? Do you remember that? All of you? Well, bad news. This happened 20 years ago. So, wow, time flies, right? So why now? Why are we speaking about artificial intelligence now, given the fact that it's not that a new topic, right? Well, the thing is that now we can all do something with that, all right? So 20 years ago, yeah, Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov playing chess, but think about where artificial intelligence was at the time. So it was at the ivory towers of the big corporation and the big research centers. So very far away from us users, right? But now it's not that way. And why it happened? It's because these three topics here. So we have now big data. We have sensors all over us. Sensors are extremely cheap. Putting a microcontroller in your room is something factible. You can have controllers for $2 or even less. So you can have a world of connected devices all around you for a very cheap price. And that allows you to have a lot of data around you. And also social media. You have all of your users, all of your customers, all of your employees, pretty much everyone in the world tweeting and generating data with you. 90% of the data that exists in the world today has been generated in the last 2 years. So it's great that the amount of information that we can now generate and process. Then the next thing that you need for artificial intelligence is big computing. And this is something that really was the bridge. So how we can democratize artificial intelligence, it all comes down to how we can democratize computing. Because the kind of computing that you need to process all that information is huge. And this was not in the hands of the people. But now it is, thanks to the cloud computing. Now everyone can have a supercomputer in the palm of their hands. And this is what is driving this massive transformation. And the last one is the powerful algorithms that you need to process that information. So not all of us can have mathematicians working for us, right? But now all those algorithms are being embedded into solutions that can allow you to build this artificial intelligence system. So that's why we are talking about artificial intelligence now, and that's why it is a huge business now. And very big indeed. Take a look at this data from IDC. So IDC is estimating that by 2020, this business of cognitive computing will reach almost $50 billion. It is huge, right? By 2018, and this is very interesting, by 2018, which is next year, most of the users will be speaking with artificial intelligences in a normal basis, right? So right now, maybe it's kind of difficult for you to imagine speaking with Siri or Cortana or Alexa every day, but you will, because as we are seeing, for example, the Asian market or the younger, the millennials, or even the new generations interacting with technology, more and more they are speaking with artificial intelligence and feeling comfortable with that. I will speak a little bit more about that later because it's really interesting from a sociological perspective. So this is why we're speaking about artificial intelligence. But what does AI, I'm not going to keep saying artificial intelligence throughout the presentation because it's kind of long, so I'm going to say AI from now on. What does AI mean? Does this mean that we will have like Terminators walking down the road, you know, having these amazing cognitive capacities beyond humans? Well, not really, at least not now. We're far from that. So right now, there are two concepts in artificial intelligence, right? There are two ways to define it. One is broad artificial intelligence, which would be these movie-like AIs that can think like a human, right? This would be the broad concept. And we have the narrow artificial intelligence, which is taking pieces of how the brain works and replicating that in a machine. That's the concept of narrow, and that's where AI is really powerful now, and where you can think about doing new things with AI. So what does it mean? You have four pillars there. One is vision, and that means how computers can see the world and understand what they're seeing. So for example, if you take a photo, a machine could tell me, okay, so I'm seeing, probably a machine could count you people better than me, right? But let's say we are 100 people here. The machine would tell me there are 100 people here, 40% are female, 60% are male. Most of us, the emotion that I see is neutral, so please be a little bit gladder because the machine can take that. and this is, you know, they could even give me, a machine could even tell me what you're wearing. They could say, okay, so that guy is wearing a blue shirt and a gray jacket, and he seems a little bit happier, I hope. So this is how machines can understand the world. And it's great to see that now they are better at this, at recognizing things in pictures than we are. So when we talk, for example, about self-driving cars, and we say, okay, but can a self-driving car realize that a child is crossing the street running for a ball? Yes, they can, and they can do it faster and better than we can right now. The second one is speech recognition, the ability to understand not only the words that come out of my mind and transcript that and translate them, but also what my words mean, the meaning of my words, the intention of them. And this is critical because, you know, being able to just take my voice out and transcript it, this has been happening for quite a long years. We can discuss about the quality of that, but it is not a new technology. But imagine that you're building a new solution for your business, and you want people to ask with voice, for example, I don't know, how can they open your new application? How can they use it? A walkthrough. There are a lot of ways to ask for that. You could say, please help me get started. You could help me. You could say, how could I open the application? How can I take my first steps? Now imagine you're developing this. Imagine your developers in your companies. Imagine that they have to take all these ways, possible ways, to say something from the users and code it. It's a nightmare. But with artificial intelligence, now the machine can understand what the user is trying to do. And now the developers can extract the intention of the user and do something with that. And this is massive. This is a great transformation going on. About language. we can translate in real time. And that is breaking down barriers in presentation. I could be delivering this presentation in Spanish, and you could see my subtitles going on in real time. We could be having a Skype conversation, and you could be having a real-time translation. This is something that is massively transforming the way that people are communicating. And it's just going to keep better and better and better. Right now, we have the same, pretty much the same, a little bit better transcription correction rates than professional transcriptors, human transcriptors. So that means that narrow AI is getting better than humans at specific things. And the last thing is knowledge. How AI can learn from data that we give it to it in a let's say in a non-supervised way. So there are two ways to understand artificial intelligence. Yet again, there are a lot of classifications with AI. You can, for example, if I want to create an AI that can understand which kind of dog I'm showing it, right? I could train it with lots of different races of dogs or breeds of dogs. I could train it, and it could be very good saying, okay, this is a Bichon, this is a, whatever, I don't know how to say the breeds of dogs in English, but the thing is that with unsupervised learning, I would give all the data to the computer and wait for it to extract its own conclusions. And it would help me understand new categories of the data that I'm presenting. And this is massive when we are talking about, for example, cancer treatment or disease detections or healthcare in general. Well, there are a lot of applications we will discuss as well. So the title of my presentation was Democratizing AI. What are we doing to democratize this? What does it mean to your business and your users? So we are looking at this issue from a let's say a four-pillar perspective. We really believe in agents. We really believe that people will use natural language to use computing. So we will not need to learn new operating systems. We will not need to learn new skills to interact with computing, but computing will be more and more human. And that will be thanks to the agents. Then we have the applications and how we are making all possible applications more intelligent. I'm not going to speak about this today because I'm not here to sell any Microsoft product, but just so you know that everything that I'm going to speak about is being introduced in Office, in Skype, in all our products. So all the things I'm going to tell you are being introduced in Microsoft products as well, of course. Then the services. What does this mean to developers, to your companies? What can you do with that? And infrastructure, which again, I'm not going to talk about that, but just to let you know that we have the biggest AI supercomputer in the world, which is completely available for you to use. So, agents. This is going to be a great transformation in the way people interact with computers. I'm going to tell you about Cortana, but because I don't have the data from Siri and Alexa and Google now, but the idea is pretty much the same. So the agent knows you. Okay, so it's not only that you speak with Siri and you say, okay, Siri, tell me the results from the Real Madrid match last week, and it tells you. She learns that you are a Real Madrid supporter. She learns what you're interested about. And slowly, she's learning more and more about you and offering you the information you need before you even ask for it. That's what an agent does. When you want to buy, I don't know, whatever you want to buy, like, for example, a trip, then you say to your AI assistant, so I want to fly to New York. Can you help me? And the AI will go to the web page, take the prices of the flights, and offer you that in a more easy way for you to consume that information. And if you look at how these agents are working right now, we have right now 133 million active users using Cortana at least every week. And this is Cortana. If you add Siri and Alexa and Google now, the number is huge. And it's only going to get bigger and bigger. So it's really important to take a look at that. And I'm going to show you a video on what does it mean to a business.
Cortana, I want to dress like this. Can you help me find it? I like this one. Yes, please. Can I get it in a size 6? Cool. Cortana, please give them my payment and shipping info.
So as you can see, thank you. So as you can see, the agents are the new web browsers, are the places where your users are going to find information from your company. And the bots, you see the AIs that speak with you, are the new apps. So instead of building apps, you will build conversational experiences for your users. And they will all connect to those AIs that will allow users to find your business. So it's going to be really, really huge. But it's not the only thing. So how can you build this, right? I spoke about services and how can you take all of this and build it into your own applications. And I spoke about Cortana, and I also mentioned Siri and Alexa. Just so you know, Siri and Alexa runs on our computing. So that means that all the things that we are creating are supporting these AIs. So that means that you can also create those AIs. You don't need to train them and learn to talk with them. So again, there are 3 levels of services when we talk about AI that you can think about. The deepest one is what we call the deep neural networks. I'm not going to go into details of that because it's highly technical, but just so you can understand, it's the most flexible approach. So you can train a deep neural network to do whatever you want. You could train them to be able to tell you which collection is a wedding dress, specifically, if you'd like to. Okay? So you can do whatever you want with the deep neural network, but you have to program it. So you have an intermediate layer, which is a machine learning layer, which is quite flexible as well. You need to train it, but it's easier. You don't need to be an expert to do that. There are some algorithms already embedded in the platform, so you don't need to know a lot of algorithms. And then you have the top layer, which is the cognitive computing layer, and that means that all the APIs that are feeding today Cortana, Alexa, or Siri, you can use them just the way that Apple or Amazon or us are using that, and build your own application. And this is, again, easier seen than explained. So I'm going to show you some real-life examples on how we are using cognitive services to build applications. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is how you can call the Vision API, which means the cognitive computing vision capabilities, to help disabled people to live a better life.
I'm Saqib Sheikh. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that I went to a school for the blind, and that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives, And one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that could tell you at any moment what's going on around you.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence APIs, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the Pivot Head smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see two faces, 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised, 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of the people around me and what their emotions are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon. Here's your menu.
Great, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the menu, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo.
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
And then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, paninis, pizzas, pastas.
Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do, but artificial intelligence is improving at an ever faster rate, and I'm really excited to see where we can take this. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before. And in this case, we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far-off dream and building it one step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
So you can see how AI is not here to replace us, which is something that you read in the press now and then. It is here to augment our own capabilities. And this was an example of a blind person using AI to understand the world around him. But there are also ways that you can integrate these same things into a business application. Take Uber, for example. We've been working with Uber to increase the security of their users. So Uber works the way you go up in a car of an unknown guy, right? My mom told me not to do that when I was a little girl, right? So it is kind of insecure. So we worked with Uber because this is something that they were worried about as well. How can you make sure that the Uber driver is who he says he is, right? When he stops and picks you up, who says he wasn't kidnapped by the bad guy and the bad guy is now in that car with the same plate number? You don't know. So what we did with Uber, they have used these cognitive computing APIs, and now the driver takes a selfie, and the selfie, the system tells you, okay, I can guarantee that this guy is the official Uber driver. This is a very simple application, but yet it's very powerful. And you could think about all these small things that you can do to improve your business. It doesn't need to be huge. It can be a small thing. Another example of this is McDonald's, because I've been speaking about the vision APIs and now the speech recognition. With the speech recognition, we can do a lot of things. Think about call centers. Think about all the processing of the speech processing that we need to do in our businesses. McDonald's is a great example because they need to, the drive-through, when you order through the drive-through, it is really hard for operators to understand what you're saying, because the drive-through audio system is not that good, and also because there's a lot of noise from the motor and the cars and so on, and there's a lot of noise in their kitchen, so it was very difficult for them to understand the order. So they need to ask the user again, I'm sorry, what did you mean? I'm sorry, do you want 2 Cokes? I'm sorry, what exactly are you referring to? And that created customer dissatisfaction. So we trained an artificial intelligence to be able to get those orders and automatize the process. And I'm going to show you how it works.
Good afternoon, welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order? Yes, I would like 2 Happy Meals, 1 cheeseburger and 1 chicken McNugget, both with fries and apples, 1 with a chocolate milk and 1 with a small orange juice. Also give me 2 cheeseburgers barbecue sauce with those nuggets? No, sweet and sour. Is the order on your screen correct? Yes. Okay, your total is $14.68. Please pull around to the first window.
So you can see how this can really dramatically improve the productivity of pretty much any business that needs to take orders through the phone, or need to pick up calls, or need to have support conversation with the customers. So pretty much everyone, right? These are only a few examples of what AI can do. And I could be just the whole day discussing all the things that we're doing in healthcare. Healthcare is a field that is going to be improved. I'm not going to say dramatically again, because I know I'm kind of persistent with that, but really healthcare is having a great way to improve the processes with AI. For example, that picture you see there, it's a system that we created with the Zika alert that we had 2 years ago, right? So we ask ourselves, pandemia is really a complex thing. So when you detect the first human case, it's already too late. It's not the only one, it never is. So what can we do to proactively detect pandemia before a first human being is affected? So we created this system that traps mosquitoes in rural areas, and first it detects whether if it's a mosquito that can or cannot pass on a specific illness, and that's we use the computer vision to recognize that. Then we extract blood from the mosquito, and we analyze it through a deep neural network, and then we know not only if the mosquito is infected, but also the last animal he fed from. So we know that if cows are being infected, we should go to that area and take a look at all the cows. So that way we are preventing diseases from spreading. And this is only just an example. AI is being very widely used in cancer treatment. It's being widely used in pharmacology research. It's being it's transforming that industry. Also, we have transportation, which I barely discussed, and smart agriculture. This is a massive field as well. If you look at how the population in the world is growing, and our agriculture production in the world is growing, we need to double the production to be able to feed the human race. It's a huge challenge that can only be addressed through AI. So this is something that we really need to look at. So these are only some examples of what we're doing with AI, what can we do with AI, how AI works. But what I want you to think about is what you can do with this technology. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.